Hey, what's up everybody? It's your boy Sweater, and I just wanted to do a real quick video on the June 22 developer update from Behavior. The point of this is not going to be an in-depth guide. This is not going to be, analyzing every perk interaction, every killer build possible now. This is just going to be as short as possible, condensed my thoughts on the update. So we're gonna, I encourage everybody to go ahead and go read this for yourself. I'm gonna put the link in the description. Go read it. Formulate your own opinions. The English language is my native one. And then come back, read it, let me know what you guys think. So yeah, we're gonna hit some of the big changes that I think are good, bad, mid. Don't agree with. We're just gonna go through it real quick. So I'm going to sort of skip over the overhaul progression system. Essentially, what Behavior is doing is removing a lot of the grind from the game, which is great. They're changing the way, you reset on prestige. They're changing Shrine of Secrets. They're transitioning to this and that and the other thing. Matchmaking incentives are coming into the picture. Cool, that's nice. The first big thing is that generator speeds now take 90 seconds, so that's up from 80, it's up 10 seconds, which I think is an interesting change, and we'll get into why a bit later. Overall, I think it's good, but I think there are some things that'll be, there's some issues with it. General killer improvements, the big ones here is that they've reduced the time it takes to break walls and pallets by 10%, so it now takes 2.34 seconds instead of 6. And gens are also kicked 10% faster. So basically, you have base kit brutal strength tier 2, which, cool. It's interesting. I think that's a good change. It sort of gets, it sort of helps break that just pre-drop strat. In addition, they've also reduced the cooldown for successful basic attacks by 10%, down to 2.7 from 3, and reduced the duration of the survivor's speed boost by 10 to 1.8 seconds from 2 seconds. Excuse me. And cool. I think this is good. So yeah. They tweaked Bloodlust, so you get Bloodlust quicker. So you get it 15, 20, 25, 35 seconds rather than 15, 30, 45. So this is weird. I've always kind of felt that Bloodlust is an outdated mechanic. It was originally introduced to help with infinites, which there aren't many actual infinites in the game, but there are still some loops that take a lot of time to get around. So increasing Bloodlust is interesting, but I also think it sort of you can just opt to not break pallets now and just try to Bloodlust, which I don't think is great. I don't know how often we'll see it, but camping and tunneling. This is a big one. So essentially what they've done is they've made Borrowed Time BT and Guardian base kit. They're smaller versions of it, but now it's base kit. So survivors will receive a 5-second endurance effect, as well as a 7% haste status effect for 5 seconds. This is cool. I do think it will help dissuade tunneling, because now it's much more of an investment than it was before. And I mean, right now, basically everybody and their mother runs Borrowed Time. So this is, this isn't going to be a huge change, but now, as a killer, if you're trying to tunnel, there's maybe they don't have Borrowed Time. Everybody's going to have, essentially mini BT as well as the haste status effect. So I think that's cool. I think it'll be, I don't think it's going to be that drastic of a change. If somebody's going to tunnel, they're still going to tunnel, but I do think it's a good step in the right direction. Another thing they're introducing is called the Conspicuous Action. This is going to apply to a couple of perks. So it's repairing a generator, healing yourself or others, cleansing or blessing a totem, sabotaging a hook, unhooking others, and opening an exit gate. So this cancels the endurance effect, and this will come in a bit later. And now we're going to get into some of the meta perk changes. This is some graphs. I love graphs, but we don't have time to go over them because it would take me 30 years. And we're just going to hit the big perk changes that I think are really the most impactful. Ruin has been halved in its regression speeds, which I think is cool. My only beef with this is after a survivor is killed, Hex Ruin will automatically deactivate. And the reason I have beef with this is because it's still a Hex. So, you can still, so the risk of losing Ruin at the beginning is there, and we have to accept that. But for killers that don't tunnel, this is fine, right? You know, if a survivor is killed, Hex Ruin will automatically deactivate. But the fact that, you know, you can hook somebody at 5 gens and they give up and kill themselves, well, now you're out of Ruin, which kind of sucks. I get why they're doing this, so that way if you tunnel somebody, you lose a perk. I get it. But I still think that this is kind of heavy-handed. I would have liked to have seen, you know, a certain amount of hooks, after, 6 hooks, Ruin out, or, even 4 hooks, something like that. So I think just directly killing a survivor is a good counter, is a good way to dissuade tunneling. But I think it also, I think it also doesn't work for, I think there are some issues with it. But, we'll see how it works in the PTB that's coming out. We'll see how all this works. Corrupt Intervention now deactivates once the survivor enters the dying state. I think this is a bit heavy-handed. I think if they had made it once the survivor is hooked, that'd be fine, because if you're playing a Bubba or a Billy and you just, if you're playing Billy and you get an insta-down with a chainsaw at the start of the match, which, you got some, you hit somebody, well, now you're down a perk. So why would you have brought it in the first place? Is part of the issue. I think hooking somebody makes a bit more sense. But, well, again, we'll see. None of this is finalized. There's going to be a PTB that'll come out. And so I think that's when we'll really see if all this works as well. Noed is still Noed. The only thing that changes is now you can see the Hex Totem's aura within 4 meters up to 24 meters after 30 seconds. Noed is still a problem. It rewards you for losing. I think that, I think, again, a token system where after you get a certain amount of hooks or after you hook everybody, it activates. Especially with the way MMR works. If you are, a low MR killer, and you keep getting, 2-3 Ks just because of Noed, well, you're just going to keep getting put up against better and better survivors, which you're not really learning how to play the game. You're learning how to rely on Noed, which is not great. Pain Resonance, they got rid of the loud noise notification, and the survivors no longer scream. This gets rid of the Dead Man Switch Pain Resonance combo, which I think is great. That combo is it's so strong, and I think this is really good. I think Pain Resonance and Surveillance is an excellent combination now, and I'm really excited to see that. Dead Hard, you can no longer Dead Hard for distance, as they call it. You instead get an endurance effect for 1 second when activated, and if you get hit, you get your normal movement speed boost. I'd like to see this extended to 1.5 seconds for one reason only, and that is hit registration. Anybody who's played Survivor can tell you that they have vaulted a window, have started running, and then they get hit. And so I think the thing that counters Dead Hard now is your killer's ping. And that's really not fair, because if that's the case, you essentially either have to learn the timing, like, it's like Dark Souls PvP back in the day, or, you just have to accept that you don't have a 4th perk. So, obviously there are other exhaustion perks that you can run, but if you are running Dead Hard, I think that's an issue. So I think 1.5 seconds will be good. DS now deactivates once the exit gates are powered. I think this is a little weird, like, even as a killer main. I think if they had made it once the exit gates are opened, it'd be fine. But, once the exit gates are powered, if you're getting tunneled at the end of the game while the killer has Noed, it'd be nice to have DS. But, it is what it is, and again, we'll see. And the stun duration has been reduced from 5 seconds to 3 seconds. I think this is okay. That's a big deal. But, again, we need to see how it plays out. But I think 3 seconds is kind of scuffed. Because, again, again, against, like, a Nurse, a Blight, a Huntress, people that can close distances really quickly, this is nothing. You might as well just stand underneath them and crouch. Borrowed Time now gives you extra seconds. So it increases the duration of the base kit now by 10 seconds, which is cool. But, this is just a, hey, you want to run it? Cool. Let's see. Self-care got gutted into the floor. Hell yeah. Get fucked. All my solo queue teammates that like to sit in the corner and self-care, get bent. Spine Chill, you no longer get the vault speed bonus, which I think is fine. I think the whole point of Spine Chill is to alert you, not to give you an advantage in chase. So I think this works really well. we've gotten to the non-meta perk changes, so there's a lot of, you know, buffs that are coming through here. So we're gonna just sort of go over them real quick. Overcharge is good now, so sick. Eruption is still mid. Knockout now counters tenacity, flip flop, power struggle, which I think is neat. Like if you run into that all the time, I want to know what the survivors in your area are doing. Dark Devotion now works just whenever the obsession loses a health state. So this works for Huntress. This works for, you know, Bubba. This works for Trapper. This works for Plague's Vomit. You know, it has a lot more options now, which I think is really cool. Praise be, Jolt no longer has a cooldown. Jolt has long been my favorite regression perk, and I am a huge fan of it. And the fact that they've reduced the long ass cooldown on it, I think, is huge. And so I think that's really good. Thanophobia has been boosted. I think that's cool. However, this now makes every Legion and Plague I play against that much worse. So that's fun. Monstrous Shrine. Monstrous Shrine has now converted all basement hooks into Scourge hooks. I think this should just be in the game. I don't think you should have to run Monstrous Shrine for it to work. I just think the whole point of the basement is that's, you know, the killer's domain. It's spooky. I think all the basement hooks should be Scourge hooks, but now we have to have a perk to do it, so yeehaw. But the Scourge hooks now also grant 10, 15, 20% faster any aggression, but only if the killer is further than 24 meters. So I think that's good. You know, you can't face camp somebody in basement you can't face camp somebody on a Scourge hook, so I think that's really cool. Botany Knowledge got boosted, so your healing speed is now increased by up to 50%, which is nuts. This essentially gets rid of the self-care nerf, so you still run Botany Knowledge self-care, and this also makes medkits fucking insane, which is, you know, something that's going to be fun. Off the record, upon being unhooked, to gain the endurance stats effect for 60, 70, 80 seconds. It's a lost upon performing a conspicuous action. I think this is cool. My only worry with this is that essentially you can now run Medal of Man Breakout off the record and just be an absolute fucking pain in the ass for body blocking. I know the whole point of it is for, you know, is an anti-tunnel perk, but I think it'll be used more aggressively than that, but it might also not be a huge deal. Again, we have no way of knowing until we see the PTB and see how it's sort of played out. Lucky Break now recharges, which I think is good. It essentially doesn't fuck you out of a perk. You can use Pharmacy multiple times whenever you're injured. Cool. Distortion, it essentially works like Stakeout now, so I think that's neat. Deja Vu now grants a 5% repair speed bonus to reveal generators from it, which we're going to get to that in a second. Hope no longer has a time. It just works once the last generator is powered. Overzealous now grants you 6, 7, and 8% repair speeds. That doubles if you cleanse a Hex Totem. So my overall thoughts, my TLDR here, is I think a lot of the perk changes are good, but not what they needed. And then the other thing is that none of these perks actually address camping. By making tunneling that much harder, you just make camping that much more attractive, if that makes sense. If I am, sloppy pop, Noed Undying Wraith player, and I know that, it's going to be a pain in the ass for me to down this guy off the hook, I'm just going to camp him. I'm going to make it that much worse. And the biggest counter to camping for a long time has just been doing gens. You do the gens, you're essentially making the killer ineffective. But with the increase to gen speeds, or the decrease, I guess the increase to the time it takes, that's an extra 50 seconds across all 5 gens you have to complete. So that means, that camping somebody is now more effective. Now, granted, are there more perks that now offer a boost to generator speed? Yes. But tunneling got kind of addressed here. Camping did not. camping really, in my opinion, camping really did not get addressed, and that's an issue. The other thing is that all these killer changes are good for mid to low tier killers. They're insane on really strong killers. These are nuts on Nurse, Blight, Twins, Spirit. Like, they're insane, and there's nothing to compensate them. You know? So I think in order to make so we'll wrap this up because again I don't want to talk for an hour and a half. I think the biggest thing that will make these changes actually effective, all these changes, aside from seeing how they play out, in the PTB and in live, is starting to close the gap between bottom tier killers and top tier killers. With survivors, it depends. You can swap up your perks, you can do different stuff. There's a lot of stuff you can do, but Nurse is so much better than Clown objectively. Like, there is no, if you were there's no way in hell you can say that, there's a chance Clown is better than Nurse. There's no way. And so I think part of the issue with giving universal killer improvements is the disparity between really good killers and really bad killers. So I think to make these changes actually effective and genuinely healthy for the game, which I think these changes are good for the game, but the how impactful they will be for the overall health of the game will definitely depend. I think we need to start seeing lower tier killers sort of beefed up, so that way once all the killers are on a level playing field, you can actually see how well these changes happen. The only other things I'm sad are left out of this update is I've always been a long proponent of getting rid of map offerings. They just tilt the game in either the survivor or the killer's favor tremendously, and there's really no point to them. And then Prove Thyself didn't get nerfed, which I've been screaming at the sun for God knows how long now. And, Circum Healing is still pretty good. So those are really the only two perks that I'm kind of like, I'd like to see a change to this. But aside from that, I think overall the update is really cool. I think it's good. I'm excited to see how it plays out in the PTB. We're on hiatus right now on Twitch due to the fact that I'm moving across the country. So we're going to be back at the start of July. So keep an eye out for that. Twitch.tv/XXLsweater, or follow me on Twitter to keep up with that. All the links will be in the description. And again, I encourage you guys to read this. Read the patch notes, form your own opinions, and then let me know in the comments down below what you think of it. Do you think I'm out of pocket? Do you think I've got some great ideas? Do you think I'm an idiot who should stop playing the game? Just let me know. So I'm curious to see what everybody has to say. As always, be good to each other, be good to yourself, stay hydrated, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.